The My Lai Massacre was a tragic and significant event during the Vietnam War, occurring on March 16, 1968. To understand what led to this massacre, it's essential to consider the broader context of the Vietnam War and the specific circumstances surrounding the incident. In the late 1960s, the Vietnam War was at its peak. The United States, in a bid to contain the spread of communism, found itself entrenched in a conflict far from its shores. Amidst this, a small hamlet in South Vietnam named My Lai lay unknowingly in the path of a war about to take a tragic turn. Quang Nguyen Province, a region dominated by rice fields and small villages, was a stronghold of the Viet Cong, the communist guerrillas. This area, including the hamlet of My Lai, was often a battleground between Viet Cong and American forces. Task Force Barker, a unit of the American Division, was operating in this volatile region. The unit, having faced frequent ambushes and casualties, was under immense pressure. Morale was low, and resentment towards the Vietnamese civilians suspected of harboring Viet Cong was high. As the sun rose on March 16, 1968, the soldiers of Charlie Company, a part of Task Force Barker, were briefed for their next mission. They were told that My Lai was a hotbed of enemy activity. Expecting fierce combat, they prepared for a search and destroy mission. But the intelligence was flawed. My Lai was not a Viet Cong base. It was home to unarmed villagers, mostly women, children, and the elderly. The soldiers, fueled by a mix of fear, anger, and misinformation, were on the brink of committing an act that would shock the world. The stage was set for one of the darkest chapters in American military history. The My Lai Massacre, as it would come to be known, would reveal the harrowing depths of war and its impact on both soldiers and civilians. As dawn broke on March 16, 1968, the men of Charlie Company approached My Lai, expecting to encounter Viet Cong fighters. The intelligence was clear. Enemy forces were supposedly using the village as a base, but what awaited them in My Lai was not what they had been led to believe. My Lai was quiet that morning. Most of its inhabitants were women, children, and the elderly, starting their day, oblivious to the horror that was about to unfold. As the soldiers entered the village, there was no sign of Viet Cong soldiers. No gunfire, no traps, just the unarmed villagers. Yet, within hours, the hamlet of My Lai turned into a scene of unspeakable atrocity. Orders were given, and a massacre ensued. Over the next few hours, hundreds of villagers were killed. Reports later described brutalities that shocked the conscience. Shootings, beatings, and other unspeakable acts. The My Lai Massacre, as it would come to be known, was one of the worst war crimes committed by U.S. forces during the Vietnam War. The massacre ended, leaving My Lai in ruins and its population decimated. The events of that day would remain hidden from the world for over a year, buried under layers of official cover-ups. It wasn't until investigative journalists brought the truth to light that the world learned of the horrors of My Lai. The revelation sent shockwaves through the American public, fueling growing anti-war sentiment and leading to widespread outrage. The My Lai Massacre stands as a stark reminder of the tragedies of war and the importance of ethical conduct in the military. It raises profound questions about authority, responsibility, and the human cost of conflict. As we take a moment to reflect on the harrowing events of My Lai, it's crucial to consider the complex layers of history, morality, and human behavior in times of war. We invite you, our viewers, to share your perspectives. What are your thoughts on the My Lai Massacre? How do you think such events shape our understanding of war and its consequences? Please share your views in the comments below. Your insights are valuable as we continue to explore and understand the many facets of history.